What's the dumbest way you've gotten a scar? I was headbanging my hair dry in the bathroom. I hit the counter. I was 8. I legit laughed alone in my empty office when I read this. A calamity. Indeed. Miss Jane. Thanks for the Monday morning smiles. Trust fall with my brother. I trusted him. I fell. Let me guess. You're the younger brother. Of course. Your brother sometime after that. Trust me. You chose scar never again. I was in middle school and we were going to see Coach Carter in theaters with the boys' b-ball team. Middle school me was pumped. While in the shower I thought Coach Carter, I bet they do push-ups in that movie. I'ma do push-ups right now. Tried to do a wall push-up. Slipped, smacked my face on the edge of the tub, and split my upper lip open from mouth to nose. Needless to say, did not make it to the movie. My younger brother at a very young age, maybe 5 or 6, saw some older kids playing baseball, maybe 12 or so, and for some reason thought it was his team. He was not even on a baseball team, he was on a junior t-ball team. Anyway, he was wearing his sandals on the wrong feet, because he insisted on putting them on himself. When he tried to run towards his team, he tripped and hit his head in the car door. He got staples and now he has a scar on his head, which is hilarious to me, because he's a soldier and has to keep really short hair. Another funny story about him being an idiot kid. One time we were riding our bikes. He was probably around 13, and he kept trying to do BMX tricks despite having no idea how. It resulted, as you probably can guess, in him smashing his face into the concrete. No serious injuries, but he had short-term memory. The ride home he kept asking the same question. Are we almost home? Which was annoying. But he's annoying so I didn't question it and just got mad. He asked while on our street and I was like, dude, we are on our streets tfu, and we start fighting. He's yelling at me for a minute and then instantly stops to calmly ask, once again, are we almost home? The change in mood was so off-putting and I realized something was wrong, so we took him to the hospital. He's okay now, but he has a scar on his lip that now looks like a reverse Hitler stash when he grows his facial hair. Now I'm going to say Coach Carter before I attempt any risky stunt. I was trying to squeeze between two cars. One of the cars must have had a jagged bumper, because it sliced a 2-inch gash in my leg. At first I was thinking you were driving a car yourself and wondering how the frick you scarred yourself while inside a car. He was the car. Car-to-human conversion therapy is rough. Quick, Morty, you've got to turn into a car. I got hit on the bridge of my nose by a ceramic toilet seat when I was learning to pee like a big boy. Now I think about it, that's probably the best outcome there. Why was your nose close enough to get hit? I was just learning to wee in the grown-up toilet, and I thought I was clever. Went to my grandparents' old clanker of a toilet without a step or anything. Tippy toes to get any sort of bead on the target. The lid was one of those that you think is going to stay up, but actually needs holding or it falls down. I didn't know this. It fell down. You could have taken a fatal hit if you weren't defending with the other head. I was 7. Mom said don't use that knife to cut that orange. I used that knife to cut that orange. Things I learned. Orange juice in a wound stings, but not as much as the knowledge you can't go crying to your mom. Ah yes, I also have a sliced finger along with orange scar. I had a strangely lucid moment where I stared at it and thought, this is going to really hurt in a second. A second later it started really hurting. Yeah, can't go to your mom. You don't want to look like an OJ. Wim son. I used a pressure washer on my foot. I knew a guy that blew a hole straight through his foot with one. We had those huge pressure washers using a truck motor and could cut steel. So, what exactly would you wash with a pressure washer that could cut steel? Using very high pressure water is starting to gain popularity in dockyards to strip paint and rust from ship hulls. Having had the displeasure of cleaning up a ship after a dock visit where they did a lot of sandblasting. Man, I wish they'd used high pressure water. I used to work in the water jet industry, specifically at a consumables manufacturer. No one ever knew what water jet was. I worked in the same office with a dude who is trying to get our orifices on shipyards and into the blasting industry. Fir needle cut me across the wrist while playing hide and seek out in the woods. A fir needle. Those bastards are sharp. I've still got a couple of scars on my hands from decorating at Christmas. It didn't even break the skin, but still scarred. For my 8th birthday, a classmate got me something like a grow-your-own stalagmite kit you could buy at educational stores. Apparently, the purpose was to add water to some powder material and use a funnel in the kit to drip it down to make your own cave features. Exciting, I know, Anyway, I kept it and the other birthday presents I got in a cardboard box in my room. Evidently, at some point, moisture got into the box and the plastic the powder was in, and it began expanding. Having nowhere else to go, the stalagmite material oozed its way out through the narrow slits in its box and hardened into razor-sharp edges. I found this out quite bloodily when I put my hand into my birthday box to grab another toy, and pulled it out with permanently altered fingerprints on my thumb, index, and middle fingers. Ouchies. My dog got one of these sets for Christmas. She never got to use it. Her little brother 3 years old found it in her room. He is not allowed to be there, didn't tell us and took it to his room. Later when we slept, he got up and took it to the bathroom. Now I don't know what was in those bottles, but every one of them were chemicals with a big black cross on them, and the text, "Not suitable for children" on them. My bathroom was blue, purple and yellow for a month. Luckily he was smart enough not to drink, eat it. Another time he stole the medicine basket we had on the highest place in the kitchen. He had taken a chair, climbed up on the kitchen table, then climbed the kitchen cabinets, and then managed to take it down. It is a big basket, so I have no idea how he managed that. Then took it to his room and sat down and did I don't know what. But all the medicine bottles were emptied when we found the basket, and there were like 2 or 3 full bottles of fluid aspirin for kids when he took it that had been completely emptied. He never got sick from it. So my guess is he just played doctor with his teddy bears, instead of eating it himself. Thank God. We never leave him alone for a second anymore, and apparently the punishment was so tough. He knows better now. Kids are little suicide machines. I have 2. So now I'm preventing suicide and fratricide. I have toddler twins and this is so accurate. My house is practically bare, but they find a way to cause destruction. Boys from my class were throwing CDs like you throw frisbee. One of those hit me right between the eyes. Still got a small scar there. My siblings and I loved that game. It's a wonder none of us got hurt, except for this one time we accidentally hit this other kid right between the eyes. You should be thankful they didn't decapitate you. I'll make sure to send them basket of fruits or something. Playing manhunt. Some idiot made the campfire area base. I was running for my life to get there. Jumped this huge pile of firewood, tripped over something and rolled right into the fire. It could have been so much worse, but I only burned my elbow and some of my hair. It's been probably 15 years and the scar is only about 3 inches long and 1 wide. Lazy me liked to iron clothes while wearing them when I was 20 years old. My left arm can testify. So you are the reason for that ridiculous warning label. LOL. I have a scar on my forearm from a weaponized paper airplane I taped razor blades to and launched with a rubber band. I believe that is the first time I've ever seen the phrase weaponized paper airplane. FBI on here taking notes like, write that down, weapons too brutal for war. I got cut by a vacuum. A fricking vacuum. Elaborate, my friend. Spider on my arm. Violently jerked arm as an attempt to get the spider off. Vacuum was there. Scar. Spider on my arm. Violently shook it off. Vacuum was there. Scar. I'm not haiku bot. It just needed to be done. Good Redditor. I have 2 from when I was a kid. Running around in the dark on a school roof, tripped over and ripped my hand to shreds. Jumping and sliding on a door that had been kicked in. Jumped straight onto a nail that went in my knee. I was a stupid kid. What do you mean by ripped my hand to shreds? Multiple deep cuts. I don't think I still have the scar on my hand, but I ran my hand along a door once when I was little and a nail was sticking out. It sliced me open right on the palm crease that runs to the edge under my pinky. Also, earlier this year, I was trying to run for the train to work, but a lady was blocking the whole escalator. When I got up to her, I said excuse me and tried to scooch around her, but I don't know if I tripped on her or a stair, but I did. And I took a dive right into one of the escalator stairs, which had teeth, and it gouged my knee open. I bled everywhere, and had to call into work so I could go get 3 stitches, because I could see my kneecap bone. I still have that scar, and it still kinda hurts. I've got bitten by a guinea pig. Worse than that, a friend of mine was bitten by a snail. I was bitten by a wild otter while ice fishing with 2 of my uncles. We didn't mean to corner it, but between 5 minutes and 11 seconds me and my 6 feet 5 inches uncle, I can see why it picked me. This is at least somewhat not pathetic. I didn't even know snails bit her neither. 7-year-old me was helping my mom iron clothes. I pulled on the cord. The iron fell and smacked me right in the face. I still have a scar above my right eye. I got Home Alone vibes from that. Skull fracture with epidural hematoma. Marv is dead. 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 1 was fine. Sure, they took way too much damage to be realistic, but it's a kid's movie. 2 was ridiculous. Kid threw a goddamn brick from a 4-story building and cracked his skull. He got electrocuted and turned into a skeleton. If they didn't die in 1, they freaking died in 2. I tried cutting open a lemon with a fork. How did you get the scar? He tried cutting open a lemon with a fork. How did they get the scar? Lemons are sharp. Was about 4, broke a glass jar and sat on it. God, assert your dominance. This is reminding me of a particular video. You see, I broke it before and so I broke my right arm when I was a kid, then decided to put a cast on me. My skin under my cast is so itchy, it's like my skin is alive. When 2 months have passed, I decided to scratch my skin under the cast using a pen since my fingers couldn't reach further areas. While doing so, I accidentally put the pen further away inside that I can't remove it under my cast since I can't reach it. Then I just ignored it after that, thinking that it will be just fine, and I didn't tell that to my parents since they would be mad. After 2 months, they decided to remove my cast since it's already due. But the night before removing my cast, my mom noticed that my arm smells rotten. So fast forward, they removed the cast and my arm in the hospital, and they noticed that the pen was penetrating my skin 4 months and the hole is about the size of a penny full of pus. I didn't even feel a thing. After that, the hole eventually became a penny-sized scar in my skin. A similar thing once happened to me. I always have an earring in, but since they're small, I never take them out or even touch them. A few years ago, I wore it a little too tight, and when I tried removing it, I realized I couldn't. So I asked my mom to help, and she said my skin started growing over my earring. It didn't leave a scar, but I've kept my earring loose ever since. This happened to me too. I was around 8 years old and my gym teacher noticed that my lobes were scabbed over. She sent me to the nurse, who then called my dad. We went home, where he sat me at the kitchen table and attempted to remove the earrings. It was a screaming match of me telling him it hurt and him telling me to stop wiggling. It took about an hour to sort out both ears. Neither scarred, but we did have to let them heal closed, and I waited about a year before getting them pierced again. Opposite for me. I was very young when I got a body piercing on the back of my neck. It was kind of a hard place to reach to clean, so at some point I just stopped cleaning it. Told you I was too young. I don't know why I thought everything would be fine, not cleaning a new body piecing, but I did, and it wasn't fine. My body ended up rejecting the piercing, and as it became slightly infected, my skin around the jewelry started to rot off almost, and my body literally pushed the jewelry out. One day it just fell out, and I had a 1/4-inch deep hole in the back of my neck where the piercing and jewelry once was. Now I've got a gnarly scar on the back of my neck. Making up absurd stories for strangers for how I got this scar is fun. You think that's done? When I was 7, I wanted a peanut butter and honey sandwich, but the honey was all crystallized and hardened. I put it in the microwave, with the lid still on, and watched it heat up. Within 6 seconds the thing looked like a beach ball. I opened the thing and, wait for it, the honey bottle FCKING exploded like a grenade. It was hilarious and it hurt like hell. My brother, sister and I all have the same kind of scar in our left eyebrow and got them at the same age. My brother opened an empty dresser drawer and smacked himself in the face. My sister ran into a brick wall and I fell off the couch onto a coffee table. I'm picturing this all happening in the same 5 minutes, and your parents come home to everybody bleeding out, blood everywhere. Kids quietly playing video games in the living room, bleeding profusely from their heads. Kids, were you copying Mortal Kombat again? I have a tiny scar on my left or right eyebrow and I don't know where it came. When I was 5, I was spinning around in the living room and then fell face first into the coffee table. I have a scar on my forehead from that LMAO. My mother and brother were arguing about ice cream cone sizes, so my brother stormed off. I followed him back to a villa thing we were staying at. He didn't have a key and we didn't want to wait, so I just punched through the glass in the sliding door to make an entrance. There were probably 1,000 other safer ways to do it, but it just seemed the quickest. Freaking ice cream cone sizes. Man, I don't know if I've ever been so mad that I'd punch a glass door just to get inside. You just have been livid about those ice cream cones. Don't touch the iron, it's hot. Can't be that hot. Narrator. It was. Friend. If you put a 9V battery on steel wool it catches fire. Me? That's gotta be bullet. Hold steel wool on palm of hand. Reaches for battery. Friend. That's not a good idea. Me? Yeah. Why didn't you warn me? You should have checked your tag to see at what setting to set the iron for human skin. Oh, so that's what skin tags are for. I once used a hot iron to burn a poison ivy rash on my arm. My reasoning was a burn would have to feel better than the itching. Worked like a charm. Didn't even scar much. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and leave a comment which story you liked the most. Subscribe and hit the bell notification for updates on our latest videos. And don't forget to check the links in the description box for more awesome content.